Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wondered why sometimes your brain just seems to get stuck on something you're thinking about, even when you're trying to focus on something else entirely? Well, this new study might have a clue. Imagine you are trying to do your homework, but your mind keeps wandering back to that really catchy song you heard earlier. This study looks at something similar in the lab, a phenomenon called memory-driven attentional capture. It is the idea that what you have in your mind, in your working memory, can automatically pull your attention to similar things in the environment, even if they're not important for what you're currently doing. Think about it like this. You are trying to find a red car in a parking lot, and you have the color red firmly in your mind. If you see something else that's also red, even if it's a stop sign, your brain might just automatically glance at it before realizing it's not the car you're looking for. Researchers have seen this happen a lot, and it suggests that our working memory and our visual attention are really connected. But here is where this new research gets interesting. While many scientists thought this automatic pulling of attention was a direct link between memory and attention, these researchers had a different idea. They wondered if maybe it wasn't about how connected memory and attention are, but more about how well we switch between tasks. You see, in many of these studies, people are asked to remember something like a color and then do a completely different task, like finding a shape, to raise a switch happening. The researchers thought maybe, just maybe, people aren't switching tasks perfectly. Maybe when the new task starts, they're still a little bit stuck on the memory task, and that's why they get pulled towards things that match their memory. It's like they're still looking for the memory item, even when they're supposed to be looking for something else. So, to test this, they set up their own experiments. They had participants memorize a color. Then, instead of just presenting the search task, they tried to mess with the task switching. In the first experiment, they did something really clever. After participants memorized the color, they'd play a sound. This sound was like a little instruction. It would either tell them to focus on the search task that was coming up or to keep thinking about the color they just memorized. They wanted to see if telling people to switch their focus would change how their attention was captured. They also had a condition where there was no specific sound cue, just a normal pause. The basic setup was this: memorize a color, then do a visual search task. In the search task, they had to find a diamond among circles, and the diamond had either an N or an M in it. The key part was that some of the circles, the distractors, could be a color related to the memorized color, or a completely unrelated color. If the memory-driven attentional capture was happening because of inefficient task switching, then when they told participants to focus on the search task, the distracting color that was similar to their memorized color shouldn't grab their attention as much. And if they told them to keep thinking about their memorized color, maybe it would grab their attention even more. But here is what they found. Even when they explicitly told people to focus on the search task, the effect was still there. The related color distractors still slowed down their responses compared to the unrelated color distractors. It was like their attention was still getting yanked by the memory matching color, even when they were trying their best to ignore it and focus on the search. The researchers thought, okay, maybe sounds aren't enough to really force someone to switch tasks. What if we give them something completely different to do in between? So, in their second experiment, they introduced an interruption task. Right after memorizing the color before the search task began, participants had to quickly solve a simple math problem, like what's 5 minus 3? And they had to say if the answer was odd or even. This was designed to really take their minds off the memorized color and force them to focus on something else entirely. And guess what? Even with this interruption task, the memory-driven attentional capture effect didn't disappear. The related colors still caused a slowdown. This was a big hint. Let's dive a little deeper into the results. They looked at reaction times, how quickly people responded to the search task. In both experiments, they found really strong evidence that the presence of a distractor, especially a related one, did affect how fast people responded. This is like saying the result wasn't just a fluke, it was a real effect. This is the core finding across the board. When the distractor color was similar to the memorized color, people took longer to respond. This confirmed the memory-driven attentional capture effect itself. But the crucial part was what happened when they tried to manipulate task switching. In experiment 1, looking at the instruction cue condition, they found strong evidence against the idea that the instruction itself changed the capture effect. The interaction between the instruction and the distractor type was very weak. And in experiment 2, the interruption task also didn't change the capture effect much. They found weak evidence against an interaction here too. So, what does this all mean? The researchers concluded that while it's possible that task switching plays a tiny role, it's not the main explanation for why our memories can grab our attention. The effect didn't go away even when they tried really hard to make sure people switched tasks effectively. This brings us back to the original idea. What is in our working memory automatically guides our attention. It's like your brain has a pointer to the memorized item, and anything that looks similar gets caught in that beam of attention, even if you don't want it to. The study suggests that our internal thoughts and memories are incredibly powerful in directing our attention, sometimes even more powerful than what we're being told to focus on externally. Now, being the curious scientists they are, they also acknowledge the limitation. They pointed out that in their experiments, the memory task always came first. It's possible that the memory task's dominance is just because it happened earlier. This is called a primacy effect. So, maybe it is not that internal thoughts are always more powerful, but that the first thing you focus on gets an advantage. That's a great point for future research to explore. What this study really highlights is how our minds are constantly juggling information. When you have something in your working memory, it's not tucked away in a box. It's active, and it can influence what you see and hear in the world around you. So next time you find yourself easily distracted by something that reminds you of what you were just thinking about, you can thank your working memory for its strong influence on your attention. It seems our internal world has a very direct line to our external perception. This research helps us understand that connection a little bit better, showing that it is not just about switching tasks, but about how deeply our memories can shape what we attend to. What do you guys think about this? Does it explain some of your own experiences with distraction? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the mind, be sure to like this video, subscribe to RUBIN'S Mind Lab for more of this awesome science, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next exploration. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.